Coaches, welcome back to another episode of the New Jersey High School Strength Coaches Podcast, powered by the National High School Strength Coaches Association. I'm with my boy, Paul Collodi, over at Hunterdon Central Regional High School. And we have Michelle Hart-Miller coming on this episode. She's a strength and conditioning coach and the athletic trainer at her high school. By the way, we're powered by the NHS-SCA. So head on over to NHS-SCA.us, become a member. So don't just go into the Facebook group, right? Become a member. Invest in this organization because you're going to get 20 times minimum out of it. For example, I went in our Facebook group and I just used the search button and typed curriculum. And I saw an old question that was posted. And so I sent out an email to one of the guys, Tully. I'm not sure where's Tully from.
Tully Chapman. I don't know where he is.
Okay.
I want to say he may be a Texas guy.
Okay. So big props to him.
I could be wrong.
He emails me back right away, sends me resources for strength and conditioning into a phys ed curriculum. I believe Play is also working on that. They're one of our sponsors. You can see all of our sponsors when you go to the NHS-SCA.us website. The sponsor pages give you an idea of who's supporting us and who we work with, from equipment companies to software/technology. What you want to start tracking things, you want something for attendance and registration at your high school, you want flooring, you want equipment. Our equipment sponsors are kind of spread out all around the country. Some of them might even be in your own state. So a lot of opportunities to see that. So Paul, please give us a little background on who Michelle Hart-Miller is and what she does. She's hopping on in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I met Michelle for the first time at the first NatCon. That was in Greater Atlanta, at Greater Atlanta Christian School. I believe that's where the first time I saw her. She's the strength coach and athletic trainer at Londonderry High School in Nashua, New Hampshire. She was up in the running for National Coach of the Year, and then she also became the Northeast Regional Coach of the Year this year. So
she's busy.
Yeah, she is, and she's doing some great things too. If you check out her Instagram, it's Lancer Power, LANCER Power.
Follow her.
Yeah, she's doing some great stuff up there. We were talking to Coach Spray about how he really dials in movement. That's what she works on. And, unilateral, bilateral, it doesn't matter. She's no nonsense, keep it simple. But her kids really bought in and believe in her system.
Oh, interesting stuff. It'll be interesting to talk to her because today I had a lot of athletes come back that I have not seen since maybe September. Some kids didn't even train since pre-COVID, and we squatted today. And I had a conversation with Dr. Coach Pat Ivy yesterday. We were talking about, creating autonomy, giving athletes options, yet both options lead them down, a good road. And so I recommended, if I haven't seen you this year, instead of the back squat, follow the same rep scheme, but go goblet squat. And, God forbid somebody uses a dumbbell instead of a barbell, like you're automatically like a bad person. And the squats did not look good on a lot of guys. And I said, man, to my own fault, I should have said, this is what, I should have had guys like, period, end of story, and not given the option. If I haven't seen you, since the new year, you're on a goblet squat for these next 2 to 3 weeks. And and I always explain to them, I always say, guys, tell Paul he's not a bad person for doing the goblet squat. Like, Paul, you're not a bad person, And then I explain to them, look, if I squat, 500 pounds on a bar and you squat with a dumbbell, 100 pounds, I'm not automatically a better lacrosse player or a better base. That's not the way it is. So don't get so tied up in what training tool you're using or what your best friend is doing. And so I was really thinking about that today. So I'm going to ask Michelle how she would have handled that. I'm going to let her tear me up and give me a C-.
Hey, what? We're on the same wavelength. I do a senior next step lift. So at 1:30, I let the seniors who aren't going to play another sport that are going to college come in, and we go over, clean technique. We go over,
Nice.
just to get them ready for that next step.
A technique session.
Yeah. We still lift, we still do
Yeah.
everything. And one of our guys who hasn't been in since the end of football, which was in December or, November,
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
yeah,
December,
came in,
January. That's 10 weeks ago.
and today was a squat day.
Hmm.
And so the other guys are going front squat. I got a guy who wants to go to West Point. He's like that close. He's got 225 on the bar, getting nice and deep. But he's been now training since November and
On
December.
a front squat or back squat?
Front squat, front squat.
How do you go?
So
You go bodybuilder
we
style or
go,
weightlifter?
yeah, we go fingers.
Love it.
But we build them up to that. So
Yes.
we start with rack holds and
Sure.
kettlebells. So the one athlete, he came in today, again, a senior. He said, "Oh, I'm talking to Rowan. He's talking to all these schools." And he goes, I've been using the safety squat bar, at the local gym. I said, "Well, you know what? Let's goblet squat today." And he looks at me like, "Really?" I said, "Let's just see where you are." I said, "We're going to go simple. These guys are going, 5x5. You're going to go, 4x8. Just nice and easy, controlled on the way down. Keep it tight."
Yep.
After the second set, he was smoked.
Hmm.
He goes, "Man, I haven't trained in a while. I thought you were doing the safety squat, and everything else," which means that he was probably doing the safety squat probably lousy,
Listen, a kid
and
told me the other day, he's like, I squatted 500. I'm like, ugh.
yeah,
When you squat 500 when I'm not there, that's the tricky thing. You
yeah,
squat 500, but you didn't go all the way down. Then you didn't squat 500. End of story. I drove
yeah,
halfway to work. Did I go to work? I went halfway there. I'm not
right,
at work. I'm going to use
almost
that one
there.
on the kids. Guys, I drove halfway to work. Am I getting, it's just, kids are, say and do very unique things. So you got to have a sense of humor about it, but you have to learn how to direct them. And I'm still learning every
Yeah,
day. And I'm going to tell you, I utilized something. I had a phone call yesterday with a football coach. And you and I chatted about this. It's yet to be released. Well, it'll have been released by the time they hear this. And he told me that he doesn't give them all these options, that he tells them the weight room for our team, this is where we are. This is number one. And if you lifted with your private coach, I'm not working around that. And
yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, man, I've legitimately been too nice. You're working around everything. And now you never get to see that kid squat. You never get to see, I squatted yesterday. And the football coach, rightfully so, he said a kid told him, I squatted yesterday. I can't squat today. And the coach said to him, wrong answer,
yeah,
meaning he's evaluating their mental commitment
hmm,
to the team. And as a private guy, I get that because if I have, one kid from a football team training with a mixed group, his energy is different if he's around 20, 30, 40 of his teammates. It's
yeah,
way different. And look, I saw somebody, I don't know if it was on Twitter or in our group, they said, look, let the kids be kids, let them have fun. Stop thinking they got to do just you or just them.
hmm,
And so at the private sector, I'm going to work around what you do at the high school. But I told them today, I'm done doing that. I'm done with, as my buddy Johnny Wellborn says from Para Athlete, the secret squirrel program. You're on your special program. You got to be over there. You need special this, special that. One kid said to me, can I squat with the PVC pipe today? So I'm like, when things like that happen, I'm looking for the hidden camera. Where are we going to go with a PVC pipe? How is that going to help you? And so you need this honesty to tell the kids, like that Nick Saban video of it takes what it takes. And if you want to be great, you actually don't have a lot of choices.
yeah,
There's the nutrition, the lifestyle, the sleeping, the social circles that you keep close to you, how you train, how you show up. You don't have a lot of choices with that stuff. And so
yeah,
it was a good chat with this football coach yesterday. And I think down the road we'll get him on this podcast. But I like that he was extremely strict and tough with them. And I think I've gotten a little bit
yeah,
away from that. And I used to be crazy when I was my early days, especially at the private sector. And I think, it's all right to be tough. I
hmm,
think we try to be very fatherly and all these things kind of, especially with the time that we're going through, but
Mhm.
we need to train them tough to prepare for tough times ahead.
Yeah. Jeremy Boone says it the best. He says, clarity is king. The more clear you are on the standards, the less choices they have. So you're clear that this is what we have to do.
Right.
They're not going to say, well, what about this? Kind of like, Rowan going out into the woods to deliver his message,
Yes.
with, message to Garcia.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of choices. He just said, give me the no, I'm going.
Yeah.
That's it.
For those that are wondering, I posted it on my Zach Evanish site. It's called Message to Garcia, and my buddy Brian Chantosh shared that with me. And then
Mhm.
I Googled it and I found like the short version. I think there's a movie on it and longer book, but I got like a 3-page PDF and posted it.
Yeah. I know
And
Michelle's coming on, but the first time I ever heard about that
yeah,
was one of my best athletes ever was getting commissioned, second lieutenant, ROTC from Lafayette.
it
And the
must
guy
be
that was delivering the keynote
yeah.
was the commandant of something
Mhm.
in the army. And he said, I urge everybody to read this. He says, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He goes, all it means is get crap done. That's it.
Yes.
Don't ask questions. Don't say why me. Just get it done.
How, what kind of, da da da, boom. That and look, the work is crucial.
Mhm.
The work is like we got to get work done. I
Yep.
see Michelle is coming on. I'm excited for this. Paul, when
He
I
gets
get
work
Michelle
done.
on, you can ask her the first question.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Michelle,
How are you?
hi.
How are you?
Good.
Thanks for hopping on. We're
Oh,
excited.
yeah, I am too. I'm trying to
So
describe this weird light here. I'm trying to figure out.
that's okay. Paul does the same. He's so worried about the lighting. It's like his former modeling career is just like he can't let it go. So
You
Come
did
on.
shake the face up, didn't you?
I did.
I just noticed that looking
Yeah.
sharp, Paul.
Cleaned up. First day back, I had to look good.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So Michelle, we did a little intro, or Paul did an intro of you, and then I just followed you on Instagram to get my learn on.
Oh,
And
okay.
so Paul is gonna, he's got the opening question or questions for you. And we could kind of go, any topic, of course, but we won't keep you too long.
Okay.
And you're in New Hampshire, correct?
I am, yes.
All right. What is it? -30?
Actually, no, it's 36 degrees right now.
It's
Wow.
colder in Austin.
I
One
know, I saw that. I just saw
degree.
Missy Macbeth
Yep.
talking about how they haven't had power for 3 days. So,
Wow.
Holy wow.
yeah.
They're not ready for that. I didn't have power for
Wow.
this summer. I had a power outage for like 12 days. It was awesome. I slept on a leather couch and I stuck to the thing. All right. So Michelle, I'm gonna let Paul go with the first question.
Okay.
Michelle, I know that you've been doing athletic training for a while, but when did you really start to get into strength and conditioning, and doing it at the high school?
So I actually, as part of the EATAs, which we have to do continuing education for athletic training, they had the EATAs were in Boston. I think it was in '96, and one of the seminars you could sign up for was, I think it was just a functional strength and conditioning or a functional something. It happened to be with Mike Boyle, who I'd not met before, heard of before. And I remember sitting there, he was doing stuff with like mini bands and medicine balls and jumping over hurdles. And I remember sitting there taking notes of athletes that, oh my gosh, these kids would love doing this. And it just kind of really, ignited something that I started to feel passionate about. So I think at that same seminar, Perform Better, I think might have been there. And that was when they were in just Rhode Island. They used to hold all their seminars in that area. And they had a brochure there for Vern Gambetta's, I think it was Building and Rebuilding the Athlete or something like that, one of his first seminars. And I took that. It was a weekend course. And then from there, I decided to get certified through the NSCA. And I decided to develop a program, bring it to our football coach at the time, and ask him if he'd be willing to allow me to take over the program.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, we shared a lot of the same lecture halls because I was at that EATA 96.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, and I took Vern's course in 98, the building and rebuilding in Newark at the airport Marriott.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't walk for 2 days because of the lunges
I
we
know,
had to
exactly.
do.
Oh my gosh,
I
you're
couldn't
right.
walk.
We were coming home, I was so sore.
Holy crap.
I think we did the burn with Vern leg circuit that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, going to those late 90s, Michelle, I got into strength and conditioning in '02. So really, even in 2002, I felt like strength and conditioning was really in its infancy. You
Yeah.
mentioned functional strength. That was such a buzzword in the late 90s,
Yeah.
when Perform Better was cutting edge, and Mike Boyle, Vern Gambetta, like such godfathers of strength and conditioning. So you really were taught by, it's like you bypassed, I think, a lot of the mistakes. I guess my question for you would be, this is interesting for people who are as experienced as you with several, 25 years or so. What has changed in your programming through late 90s to early 2000s, 2010? Because I often speak about, I felt like I saw less of these tight hips, collapsing ankles pre 2010. And then I feel like 2010, when the smartphones really took off, I've seen such, tight hips, tight ankles, and of course, weak backs. I tell the kids, I go, you got a Minecraft back.
Yeah.
I call it Minecraft back. So what have you seen kind of as an evolution, or even I call it like a de-evolution, and how has that shaped your program design?
I definitely would say, I did the typical 4-day programming. Was kind of, we had a few kids that did 3 days, but most of the kids did 4 days. So it was kind of that typical, Monday, Thursday was legs, and, a leg day and a clean day. And then Tuesday, Friday was upper body day. And, I used to front squat on one day, back squat on the other day, and hang cleans and snatches, and kind of all that fancy stuff that kids could, I was working with a smaller population then, but kids could do that stuff and they could buy into it. They could remember it. They could, they didn't have trouble adjusting to it. And I've definitely seen over the years, and I think it has more so to do, I expect, I was just talking to one of the coaches the other day about, we have a football player who's a freshman right now, that if he keeps with it, may be our first 3-sport athlete in like a long time, as far as, being able to maintain 3 sports for all 4 years.
Wow.
And that's the biggest thing, is you don't see that anymore. You see, even like the track kids, it's cross country, track, and winter track, outdoor track. Those are 3-sport athletes, but they're doing the same thing.
They're just running.
Yeah. So I really think I got too fancy for a while. So I had to cut back on going back just really to the basics.
What was too fancy? What was the stuff you felt
probably
too
just
fancy?
with the programming, just I think having the the different types of front squat, back squat, power clean, snatches, all that kind of stuff. I got to a point where the kids just didn't move well enough to do. So back squat was probably the first thing that I stopped doing. Now, being who my influence is, that has something to do with it. I do. I did have my own experience though. Once I took back squats out, I did not see as many kids, complaining of back pain. We still front squat.
How do you front squat, Michelle? Weightlifting style? Do you ever go bodybuilding style?
I don't. I have some kids that will go like the cross arm, but most of them we either use straps, or we've really been working. I think Joey Bergele's has really gotten me interested in, getting the kids back to being able to actually manage holding it.
Yeah.
I've had some kids, we've actually been doing it for a couple of weeks, and they're like, "Oh, I like this much better than the strap." So, no.
So I was talking with Paul. We were recorded about 10 minutes before, and we've, probably like everybody else, had a very inconsistent, showing of kids since
Yeah.
September. And so some kids I have not seen since pre-COVID as of today. Some kids I haven't seen since, late October, early November, football season. And
Right.
so I programmed squats with a 10-8-5-3 with the thought of, let's put some muscle on with the 10s and the 8s, 5 and the 3 go medium, but not try to kill it. And I said, if I haven't seen you for a few months, you don't back squat, you go with a goblet squat. And then, you have so many kids that are like, I could do this, coach. And when I watched certain kids squat, like they struggle to get past halfway.
Yeah.
Their backs arch because they're trying to get lower because their hips are kind of locked in place. And, fast forward a few hours later at my private gym, I had a coach visit, and he sees us front squatting, and I had him train with us. And he's like, I haven't front squatted for a while. And I said, let me tell you, if you put a gun to my head and said front squat or back squat, I would say front squat.
Yeah.
But here's the tough thing I've learned about front squat, because you kind of mentioned it, Michelle, about them saying this hurts.
Yeah.
As a coach, I used to get, I didn't want to hear how it hurts, and I couldn't tolerate looking at the crappy technique.
Yeah.
But I feel like as a coach with that front squat and maybe some other lifts, you have to emotionally say, it's going to suck this week, next, or it's going to be, I don't know what's worse, suck or crap. It's going to be crappy this week. It's going to suck the next week. The third week, it'll be kind of good. And it's like, you have to emotionally be okay with that. And the football coach said, when are we going to start cleaning? I said, we don't clean until I teach them how to front squat. And I said, I'm not teaching a front squat till I see they're consistent, because
Right.
then I'm going to have half of them front squatting and then the other half never did it. It's
Yeah.
tricky now.
It is.
So yeah, did you train the kids today, strength and conditioning? I'd love to hear like a sample of what your training was today with one group.
We actually didn't. I think they jumped the gun a little bit today, and they canceled school last night, so we didn't
Okay,
have.
with the weather.
But yesterday is always our big speed day, so they come in, hopefully fresh from the weekend. And
Yes.
we've been timing we're doing flying 10s right now, so it's with a 10-yard lead.
What do you use? What software do you use?
I have the Brower timers. So we
Nice.
have that, and then right outside the weight room, they go down the stairs, and we have laptops set up, and they just go into their folder and put their best time in,
Nice, smart.
Nice.
kind of track it that way.
How many flying tens do they do?
We do 3 or 4, and then some kids will ask if they can do another one or another 2. So
Yeah.
some kids are fine with the 3 or 4. And some kids, ask to do more, which is, if they want to do a couple more, that's always fine.
What's a warm-up look like before they start flying tens?
Pretty much just a linear speed warm up. I've kind of been playing around with like we call them the single switches or boom and boom booms, so kind of like Tony Hollerish kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would say his name ran. I think it's Zach Deschamps from
Okay, yep.
TCU.
Does a lot
Kind
of baseball stuff, right?
Yeah, but he's got a pretty good linear warm up that
Okay.
I really enjoyed his book of Movement Over Maxes.
I have it somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere on the bookshelf.
pretty good warm ups and stuff in there. So just kind of a straight linear warm up, and then we do a couple just kind of activation sprints, like out of different positions to get them going. And then
I love that.
we actually put the sprint in with their med ball and their jump circuit. So we do a circuit of 3.
Why do you do a circuit? Is it because of how many kids you have, or what?
We have right now we can put 12 max in the weight room, and we're using a section of the gym that graciously our basketball coaches are allowing us to use. That we try not to interfere with their practice with our noise of throwing med balls and stuff. So we kind of try to every half an hour to get all the kids through, we start a new group. So it works out better for us time-wise if we can kind of, okay, you guys start on your throws, you guys are going to start on your sprints, you guys start on your jump, and then they just kind of walk through the circuit.
They stagger through.
Yeah.
You have to, right? Like, isn't organization?
Yeah.
It's so crucial.
Is that
We
kind of
try
like a meter?
to separate it out, and just that little extra time that kind of throws off the entire rest of the workout. So
Yes.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is that kind of like a metered rest for the next sprint so that we can recover enough to get them ready?
yeah, and we do, we try to say, don't rush. It's not a conditioning circuit. Walk to the next station. We have so we'll have 3 med balls out. We'll have one set where we have hurdles or jump boxes, and then the sprint. So it kind of forces them, if somebody's ahead of you, just wait for them to be done. It's very hard for them. They want to just go, 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 go from one thing to the other. So we do a lot of time educating them on, we want each thing to be, explosive and powerful. So you need to get rest in between. So.
And then what after the sprints, med ball throws, jumps?
We go right down. Monday, we do trap bar deadlift. And we've started pairing our trap bar deadlift up with just jump mats. So they get fresh vertical every Monday to go along with their speed for the day. So we can kind of track that.
Where do you track it? Again, in a folder or
Yep.
on a spreadsheet?
I have right now, I'm in the process of building my team builder, which is taking a long time getting everything uploaded in there. It's going to be great, but I've been using just Google Docs. So I have a Google spreadsheet in a folder on the computer, and I have it tabbed off by, football, lacrosse, softball, baseball. And they go to that folder, their names are in there, and they just drop it. I have it set up so.
That is my weakness, all that technology stuff. Michelle sounds like she's a boss. Wow. So trap bar deadlift, and since it's a speed day, are you telling them an RPE to go at, or like an approximate? You feel like you could do 3 more. What do you tell them to help them choose the weight?
I tell them it's not a grind out day.
Nice.
I don't want them grinding it out. I want them to finish, work on speed coming off the floor, being,
How many reps?
We stick with the trap bar. I typically don't go more than 6.
Yep.
Right now we're doing 4x4, but we've also added chains, so they're getting a little.
Oh wow, you're crushing it, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trap bar.
What are the chains for? And so once you explain it, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And at first they don't believe you. It's funny. They're like, this can't be that hard. And then they'll get done about, oh, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Interesting. And then, so trap bar deads coupled with the just jump. So they're doing a vertical jump. So they jumped during kind of the circuit. They're jumping, during the trap bar. I do a lot of jumping too. I feel like it's so underrated, and I love it. So what about what happens after that? Are you in a 30-minute block still?
That's pretty much what we try to do. We give them, they have, 30 minutes in the weight room, which is plenty of time. So we kind of gear them towards, 12-minute blocks. So on a Monday, we'll do trap bar deadlifts. We do a core exercise and the jump. And then what we'll do is we'll put 6 on one side of the room, and then if I have a group of 12, a lot of times, like you talked about consistency, we don't have all 12 there. It's very rare that we have all 12 there.
Right.
But if we do, we'll put 6 on one side, 6 on the other, and we'll do 2 blocks. So one side will start with chin-ups. We're doing chin-ups, leg curls, and overhead press on the other side of the room. And then they come back over and get their trap bar and their verts in.
So what do they overhead press with? Barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells?
Kettlebells.
1 arm or 2 arm, a strip press, a push press?
We're on an alternating right now. With a lot of our baseball guys, we'll go bottoms up.
Oh yeah, I saw you.
Yeah, just to get some shoulder stability, and then with the football guys, we'll go like just a regular kettlebell press. So one side of the weight room is deadlift, jump, some sort of ab, trunk, core exercise. The other side is overhead pressing, pull-ups, and something else. We're just doing like a slide board leg curl or some posterior.
They're working.
Yeah. And
that's what I do.
It's actually been great. I was talking to somebody. In years past, what we do is like the baseball coach will have a meeting and the lacrosse coach will have a meeting. Okay, you've got to go work with Michelle, get on the schedule, and obviously we could take more people, so we get them on there.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were doing it because their lacrosse coach told them they had to do it, and they didn't really want to be there. Well, this year with, the fact that we've got reduced capacity, I just had a sign up and just said, sign up for a time. And so all the people that are coming in want to be there. So it's actually been really refreshing this year.
I bet. What do you use for signups? So like Google.
I Google, like a Google form, and they go on
Yeah.
and sign up, like almost like a registration.
Have you shared any of that stuff to the with Toby to put in the resources of the website or
I
no?
think I have, no.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Just saying, I'd like it.
okay, I could do that.
Nice, that's great. Paul, what questions do you have? Because I'm hogging it up here.
I know. I'm asking the boring questions. That was my favorite part. Right? Well, we did Zach and I did one yesterday, a podcast yesterday, and we talked about how college coaches are complaining about their lives and the time that they're spending in the weight room. How do you budget your time between athletic training and the weight room and still, I mean, those are 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah,
So,
they are.
and be able to go home and get some stuff done at home and everything else.
I'm very fortunate. I'm in a very pro sport community. And when I first started doing this, I started to struggle because, at first I was working with football, and then we added baseball to that. And then we, added some track kids to that. And then we started adding sports. So we added wrestling, we added girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse. We had to start adding some freshman teams. And it got to a place where I was like, I can't do both. So I was fortunate. They said, well, we're going to hire you an assistant. So I've had an assistant athletic trainer now for, I think, 15 years. She's been there. And we have it worked out where I work with the kids after school up until 4 or 5, in the wintertime it's later because we're inside for most of it and kids aren't outside. So anything typically after 6, she'll go home and I'll take over for the after 6 stuff. Or some days she's like, why don't you go home? I'll take the games tonight. So it's actually worked out really well.
That's still pretty late.
It is.
But as an athletic trainer, I guess you're used to
like
it.
a second shift job.
Yeah, you always have to be at the games, the matches, the competitions. How many hours of strength and conditioning coaching do you do a day, do you think, Michelle?
We start at 1:45, and my last group on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday ends at 7:30.
2 to 5.5. Wow,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Wednesday, Friday, our last group starts at 5:15, so a little bit earlier. But then we also I have a 9 and 9:30 and a 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
Holy.
So
you're working, girl.
But
and
it's
not.
not, typically on a Saturday morning, I'm there. I have, freshman basketball game going on or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
What's your favorite part about doing all of it together? And I mean, guess you've been doing it. It's 2021. You were mentioning 96. When did you start working in the school district?
This is my 26th year.
Okay.
So I came out of college. I went right to ended up back at Londonderry. That's where I graduated from. So I've actually been there at Londonderry longer than that.
Yeah.
I started part-time, or actually it was a per diem slot.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a full-time athletic trainer. But they had 2 per diem slots each season. So I started looking at, the fact that I was actually the only person that was technically qualified at being certified. The other people were just coaches, and I put together an idea to try and make it a full-time position, and they accepted that. So I started full-time in the 93-94 year.
Wow, I
never left. So
strength and conditioning was not really a
no
term back then.
No.
In the colleges, I guess it was, and I bet you in the colleges it was so much in its infancy. I mean, strength and conditioning was a thing, but not.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't come out of college knowing anything about strength and conditioning.
Yeah, me neither.
But that being said, I did come out of college feeling like I really struggled in the kind of rehabilitation and reconditioning of athletes. I didn't think I had a good understanding of that. So if anything, learning from the people I've learned in the field of strength and conditioning, has really helped me if I do have an athlete get injured, as far as being able to rehab that athlete and get them back, in an appropriate manner. So
I feel like as a strength coach, you need quite a good amount of knowledge of, physical therapists don't like that word of like prehab, rehab, but you have to have an eye with, all right, he can't squat all the way down. His back is arching too much. We got to do dead bugs. Why is his back arching too much? His hips are too tight. We got to work on the couch stretch. His homework at home has to be pause body weight squats, or maybe he doesn't squat. He's going to lunge for the next month, but you have to have an eye for that. And I think you and Paul with athletic training and strength and conditioning, and really, Mike, of course, got so much flack for the front squat and don't back squat people, but it helps the athlete move better.
Yeah.
Front squatting, and speak about timing, guys, I didn't get into weightlifting movements until, I'm 45, like 36, 37. So there I am, so tight trying to learn that stuff. So it's all about these, I think you get lucky to have these experiences, to be in front of a Vern Gambetta, a Mike Boyle. Ironically, a kid I trained, his dad was a hockey player where did Mike coach? Boston College or Boston U?
Boston University.
His dad went to Boston U, and Mike Boyle was his strength coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I feel actually really fortunate to be in the area I'm in. I mean, if the people I've been able to go visit, Brajesh Patel and Jeff Oliver from Holy Cross, and Brajesh is at Quinnipiac now.
He's been there a long time.
Eric Crusty, I met at a seminar. It was a West Side barbell seminar at some hotel in Massachusetts. I met him at a lunch. Actually, Brajesh introduced him to me, and ended up 2 weeks later going to where he was training, which was inside of a private facility, and have followed him all the way through to where he is now. So, and he's his information has been very helpful with working with my baseball team. So.
Yeah. I used to send Eric videos, in the early 2000s. I'd be training a pitcher, and I remember a pitcher, I had him doing ring push-ups, and the kid's body would like pull out. And he's like, Zach, that kid's been rotating one way since age 5. He's like, you don't ever do ring push-ups with a pitcher. Connect them to the ground. And I'm like, that's why I email you. To have those resources. Who gave the West Side Barbell seminar? Was Louis there and Dave Tate?
There was one of them that I went to actually I wanted to go see. Who was there was Stuart McGill. He was was there. Yeah, he was one of them. But there was somebody from West Side that I really wanted to see, and I don't remember who it is. I was talking to somebody about it a while ago, and I couldn't remember. But
Nice.
He didn't end up going. They had somebody subbed in for him. But
do you remember who subbed in for him? I wonder who did it.
I don't.
Yeah, interesting. Paul, do you have a final question for Michelle?
We got to get to the important question. Other than D'Angelo sandwiches, what's your go-to late night grub after a match or a basketball game in Nashua, New Hampshire?
Working so hard.
You know what? There's a place called the Thirsty Moose.
Right.
Yeah. And they have the best. They have this hamburger that has, what are those really sweet? Oh, the gherkin pickles on it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Wow.
So I would say that's probably my favorite place.
If I want to get a Zeppeli in New Hampshire, where do I go?
No, I don't know.
Lake Kenobi Park, what?
That might be hard.
Wow, the Thirsty Moose sounds like that place is pumping, especially, that place sounds...
The caddy's got to get up there.
Yeah, it's a sports bar. They have their whole back wall is all kinds of beers from all over the place. A lot of homegrown beer and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds great. How large is your weight room, Michelle, in your high school?
It's I don't even think it's 1,000 square feet.
Whoa, I have a gym that's 960 square feet, so I know that's tight.
Yeah.
How many squat racks are in there?
We have 6, the way we have it set up. Um,
Probably
which
then
works
more
out.
like,
We have them set up like back to back in the middle of the
oh,
room.
yes.
Yeah.
Wow, look
And
at you.
along the walls, if I had a room that was a complete square, unfortunately, it's something to do with it's under where the lobby is. So
Yes.
it's kind of like got these weird corners and
Yeah.
inlets and outlets. But so we put the, cable machines and stuff along the outside. I switched away from having an entire wall full of dumbbells about 10 years ago. We have power blocks, and that was a big help.
And then what are your cable machines? Kaiser?
No, we actually have Samson.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 3-station configuration that goes along one of our back walls, and it's got 3 250-pound weight stacks, and then in between it's also got the chin-up stations.
Wow. Michelle, would you be able to, whenever you get time,
Yeah.
do a video tour of your weight room, but a widescreen and post it to the Facebook group?
Sure.
And then tag Paul and I? That'll be
Yeah.
awesome.
Certainly can do that.
That would be cool. All right. So, favorite movie, like a movie that gets you going. You're feeling like you need to watch, or it's on repeat a lot on your on demand, or you bought it, you always watch it. And it could be any movie. We're not judging.
Actually, my favorite movie that I'll watch anytime I see it on is Pretty Woman.
My wife loves that movie.
I love that movie.
She loves that
Not
movie.
the Equalizer.
Yeah, it's not the Equalizer, although Richard Gere did knock out the guy, he was in
That's right.
Seinfeld. He knocks him out.
Yep.
Yep.
That
Gives him
one,
the
and probably, I don't see it on that much, but I love Top Gun. That's the other one. I can't wait for the next one to come
New
out.
one.
Yeah.
I know.
He's like, I'm dangerous. Man. You should say that to the kids one day. They'll have no clue what's going on.
I know.
I'll always pull out like a one-liner, or like Rage Against the Machine is going. I'll be like, guys, I don't know what you were doing in the summer of '93, but I saw this band in concert.
Yep.
They're like, they don't even know.
Yeah, I had the other day that in the air came on tonight from
Phil Collins.
Yeah. So I cranked it up in there, and the kids are like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh."
The drums to that, actually.
Just wait.
Just wait. It must have been a few weeks ago. A kid must have known it, and he was like doing the drums, and he knew it. And I was like, I'm impressed with that one right there.
There you go.
So great. So we got Pretty Woman, In the Air Tonight, great song. We got The Thirsty Moose. And are you the regional director, Michelle, or you were
for New Hampshire? Yes.
Okay, so you're the state director of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin is are you in considered Northeast, right? Region?
Yeah, and they're Region 8. So
Nice.
I have New Hampshire, which is me and 3 or 4 other people.
Nice, very cool. You're crushing it. I'm excited to meet you in person one day. I don't know when we're getting back to in-person events. I believe we got an email that said something like no earlier than June, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We can drive the caddy up there.
Yeah, we're really pushing on a Cadillac, Soprano style. Even though it's a nonprofit, it'd be a good write-off.
I have to say, Zach, I probably started following you maybe 5-6 years ago, because with my wrestlers, I started researching a lot, and your name came up, and so I started reading some of your material and stuff. So
I have a lot of. I could send you anything. I sent Toby a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure if he put it in the resources section, but if you want, just email me. I will send you a lot, and then send it to the printer. I have a funny story about a printer before we shut it down. So, speaking of anatomy, when I was in undergrad, I worked at a hospital fitness center. And to study for my anatomy exams, let's say I was I would put a photocopy of, shoulders or the upper back, and I would run off like 30 to 40 copies. And the way I would study was active, writing.
Yeah.
And I must have did like 400 copies of stuff. And so the CEO is in the hospital fitness center, and he finishes his work. I was making photocopies. I take his blood pressure and he's like, Zach, you smell something burning? And I was like, nope, I do not. And there was a stack, like, I mean, it was like this big. I was running copies. I learned always by doing, I couldn't just read the book, but it was a little, it was a white lie. I didn't want to, I was burnt, corporate paper,
Yeah.
JFK Fitness Center. So if I need to if JFK, CEO hears this and they need me to make a donation to it, I'll do it. I'll do it. So Michelle, this was great. We're excited to have been able to chat with you. I'm following you on Instagram. Do you have any, closing remarks for anything or anything you want to give a shout out on?
No, I think the biggest thing is just, having fun. The NHSSCA has really kind of got me presented with some new challenges as far as, speaking at conferences and networking with people. But I think the biggest thing is like up until, was it 2016 they started this? I think within that year, I actually had a conversation with Gary and Fred Eves that, just asking some questions. I think it was Fred I first started asking questions, and I didn't even realize that there was this whole network of strength coaches that work in high schools out there. So I do, kind of feel like I'm up on an island. I didn't know people in Massachusetts. Now I know Kevin and Brian and all kinds of people down there now. So it's really an awesome experience.
Yes, it certainly has. So for anybody who's in New Hampshire, if they want to reach out to Michelle, they could go to the nhssca.us website, click on leadership, and there should be the email for you, the state director. I don't know if they put the emails up for the advisory board. They're working on some stuff now where we're collecting information from everybody, but they can and should reach out to you. And coaches have been reaching out to me since I've, taken on the role of state director, and it's been fun. It's really been cool. It's not too many people actually, they reached out to me in different ways, but not like this. I love training. People used to always ask about business, and I'm most excited to talk about helping the kids.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been great. So hopefully I see you in the summer. We have some sort of Northeast, I'm not sure the regional.
We're going to have one.
Yeah.
Yeah. At your place, right, Paul?
Yeah, but it's going to be virtual.
No, I can't do it anymore. I can't.
We'll do a coach's retreat. We're going to get a cabin.
Yeah.
And we'll just tell Kevin to roll up and he'll take care of it.
Nice. All right. Well, Michelle, thanks so much. And Paul, stay on for a minute or two. We're going to close out. Michelle, send me an email so I could send you some stuff.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Great. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That was great, Paul. She's awesome.
Killing it.
Super smart and like way ahead of her time. Mid 90s, you guys are learning from, Mike and Vern, the Newark Marriott, I think that is one of them. But yeah, that's she 96, way ahead of the curve. I mean, talk about, underground. That stuff was, the internet was, I don't even know, that was dial-up back then, dial-up internet. So there was probably, there was no YouTube. YouTube came out in 2006. So you had to learn by going in person and training. You see how you were talking about how sore you were?
Oh,
people don't want to go to live events anymore, or they don't want to participate. There's a lot of that. Whereas, 20 years ago, even, 15 years ago, when I ran my own certification, the first thing we did was train. I didn't sit them down and go over PowerPoints. They trained.
Yeah.
Kicked some people's asses.
And you waited in line to talk to them, and their email address. You were lucky if you got it at the end. If you got the handout. It was different times, but it made us learn. It made us get it and
respected it because you had to earn it. You had to go to Newark. Okay, you had to go to Newark. Michelle she's in New Hampshire. I don't know how many hours it is, but she has to go to Boston. Then she's meeting a lifter from Westside Barbell. It was probably Dave Tate that they sent out
Yeah.
because Dave was running those things for Louis. Then she's meeting Eric while Eric's renting space, in somebody else's facility. You take it for granted, all of this, Eric Cressy's thousands upon thousands of videos and articles. You take it for granted, you don't, because you don't earn it.
Yeah.
Michelle had to go and drive like you and earn it. But then she gets to go to the Thirsty Moose. She gets to choose the beer. She gets the double
been there.
bacon. I could imagine you get like a special Guinness, a Guinness, then you get a double bacon cheeseburger. You get those pickles on there. We're high-fiving. Kevin O'Neill's talking about when he squatted 600 pounds for 10 reps. You're talking about doing, bent over rows with 405, but then you tore your bicep because you were inspired by Dorian Yates.
And order another burger. Let's go.
Yeah, you're like, I don't care. We'll just go to the Thirsty Moose. I love it. And look how much fun we had. I mean,
Yeah.
NHSSCA.us, that's where it's at. I also like that Coach Skos, people are introducing themselves on Facebook. He's like, welcome. Are you a member? And I like it. He's not beating around the bush. Why?
Nope.
Come on, dude. This only happens by you paying to become a member.
Yeah.
Strength and conditioning is weird. A lot of people don't want to pay for things. And this is an investment. And you're part of this network, it's just great. Michelle really summed it up by talking about how she felt like she was alone and now she has these people to talk to. You need that as a coach. When you have nobody to talk to, it's tough.
Yeah.
To have somebody to talk to is important. So this was great, Paul. Michelle,
get to your wife.
Hart-Miller.
Speaking of somebody to talk to, get to your wife. You got to get up there and talk to her so we can.
Get to my wife. She has furniture in the back of her pickup truck that I have to empty out. So that's her. That's why she really wants to talk to me. After that, then I could get a hug. And I'm really wanting a burger, but I don't have any burgers. I think actually I have to grill. I got fillets in the refrigerator. I'll be grilling out there in 30-degree weather at 9 at night. Then I'll be walking the dog.
All right.
Strength Coach Life, NHSSCA.us, powered by the National High School Strength Coaches Association. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. So everybody listening, watching, go to the website, check out the sponsors. You could see what is, a best fit for you. Michelle has mentioned some of the software she uses, some of the equipment she's purchased. Those companies are all part of our sponsors. So it's been great. Paul, talk to you later, buddy.
Yes,
Shutting
sir.
it down. See you, buddy.
Okay.